Howdy folks, it's Zach, and welcome back to my series on getting a new level 60 character up and rolling. So I jumped over to Sith's side and I went ahead and put together a sniper, which is the Sith equivalent to the sharpshooter gunslinger. So if you've already seen the sharpshooter gunslinger video, I'm basically setting up everything on this character the exact same way that I have it on my sharpshooter gunslinger. They do the same things, they just do it a little differently. The name might be a little different. Or as you can see when I pull up my character sheet, instead of using two guns to do all their damage with, he is just using a single rifle and a single barrel, and his offhand then is a knife. So looks a little different, but all the moves are basically the same. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a sec. I'm going to go ahead and put these hotbars together, jump out of tutorial mode, and then I'll show you what's there. It's just like the Gunslinger, so really all I'm doing in this video is going over what those different names are. If you jump to this one first and you haven't seen the Gunslinger video, I encourage you to go ahead and see it. Most of everything will be in the exact same spot on the hotbar, and so you'll get an understanding of what that move does too, and I'll talk about it a little bit here as well. So I'm going to pause. When I come back, we'll have made some of these changes. Alright folks, I am back and I have gone ahead and reconfigured my hotbars a little bit. So before I start with that though, let me just show you the beautiful gear that is on this sniper. I'm going to tell you, most of the starting gear that you get at level 60, it's hit or miss. This is one of the hits. This set is actually based off of the old Ricotta. That was a tier 3 gear set from way back in the day when this game first came out, and it disappeared off the face of the earth. You've never been able to get it again. So when you do start up a sniper and this character is wearing this gear, just take a second to breathe that in, that this is a set of gear that was out of the game for a very long time and that they brought back. It's actually, in my opinion, one of the finer sets. If you look at my characters, if you ever find me on Harbinger's server, most of my characters wear some variation of heavy armor, legs, and boots, mostly because I just don't like the way skinny boots and skinny pants look in this game, but this set is one of the few exceptions to that. I love this set. Anyway, let's get started with these movesets. So I did notice one thing when I was doing the sniper as opposed to the sharpshooter. I actually did have to reach into the power menu and grab a few extra items that weren't available. When I crouch into cover, obviously a secondary hotbar slings into place, and I noticed that unlike the Gunslinger, there was a few things, namely diversion over here that was on the Gunslinger's hotbars initially, but was not on the sniper's hotbars initially. So you may actually have to take a look through your moveset to grab a few of these items so that you have them in both places. Also, to make it simpler, there's some players out there who are going, why is his hotbar for when he's standing the exact same as when he's crouching? Why wouldn't you want to put these other moves in? Well, for me personally, and just for my play style, I have a lot of things hotkeyed onto my mouse, and so for just simplicity's sake, I like to have the same move set up for when I'm standing and when I'm in cover. There's a bunch of moves that you can use outside of cover, but to be honest, most of them aren't very strong as a sniper. You may find some situational uses for them, but for the most part, I'm trying to keep everything as simple as possible for the average gamer. So let's get you started. First up and foremost is Rifle Shot. Rifle Shot is just a basic attack, no frills, no thrills. Doesn't really do anything except it's a basic attack that you can use while other things are on cooldown to help maintain your energy. While you're using it, you're consuming absolutely no energy, and therefore if you're waiting for something better to come along, that's just handy to have on the hotbar. Next up is Snipe. This is one of the backbones of the core rotation. I like to have it on my 2 key. Also, depending on how you've set up your utilities, there's a move here called Snapshot that when you hop into cover, you get an insta-cast snipe. Depending on what your situation is, that can be pretty useful. In fact, that's actually one of the recommendations I make on changing these utility points here. Most of these are actually really solid choices, but that's an optional one to switch into. If you're still feeling a little skittish about playing this character first, you might want to keep it in Vital Regulators, and that just gives you some healing while you're behind cover. Not a lot of healing. You're not going to feel a major benefit of it, but you're going to get a little bit to take the edge off. Okay, next up is Follow Through. Follow Through is the sniper version of Takedown, or excuse me, not Takedown, Trick Shot is the sniper version of Trick Shot. That's a long way to say that through the rotation, there's certain moves that once you finish them will activate this move. So I have it on one of my earlier keys. Basically, anytime I either snipe twice, finish up penetrating blasts, or finish up an ambush, or depending if it's available or not, finish up takedown, I get almost a virtually cheap, almost free follow through. And follow through actually hits very solidly. So most of the rotation is built around, I do this move, I hit follow through. I do my second move, I hit follow through. I do my third move, I hit follow through, and now I'm back to the first move, and then I'm hitting follow through. So follow through is basically just one of those moves in the core part of the sharpshooter and marksman rotation that you're just going to want to have very handy. You're going to be hitting it a lot. It doesn't activate on its own. It has to be activated by another move happening. Right next to it, I have Penetrating Blast. This is a great shot. It's a core part of the rotation. I know I say that about all these moves, but usually my 1 through 6 keys are the core parts of any rotation. Penetrating Blast is very nice because it also, I believe, adds the armor debuff now. It used to be that you'd have to hit this move over here called Shatter Shot to do that, but now it's just rolled right up into your main rotation. So anytime you're putting that out on a bad guy, that's stripping his armor away by about 20%. And yeah, very helpful. Right next to that, I have what's called Sniper Volley, and this is the sniper equivalent of the same move over on the Gunslinger side, and it does the same thing. So as soon as I finish up a Penetrating Blast, it's a good idea to pop Sniper Volley and then do another set of Penetrating Blasts. It's the really, really bursty part of your burst damage. That plus the next move over here, which is called Ambush. Ambush is a lot of single target damage in one single shot. It's a great move to precast right at the start, and it hits really hard. The best part is that as you're going through the rotation, if you do snipes, that will actually reduce the cooldown on your ambush. So when you see that ambush light up, that's as cheap as it gets. That's a great time to pop it. Usually, like when I start up on a sniper rotation, it's usually precasting ambush in conjunction with lace target, which is the sniper version, obviously, of Smuggler's Luck. That is going to boost the power on ambush. I hit him with ambush. As soon as ambush is done, it's follow through, then it's Penetrating Blast till its end, follow through, Sniper Volley, follow through, snipe, follow through. That can change a little bit depending on your situation. If you're using snipes, that actually adds certain buffs to you and to your moves. I believe that boosts your crit, so some people will put that in different places. But that's kind of the basic rotation, is starting off with ambush, follow through, sniper, Penetrating Blast, Sniper Volley, follow through, snipe, follow through, and then when Sniper Volley is on cooldown, you're just doing the same thing without the Sniper Volley attachment in there. And same thing with lace target. Also, I would add that there's a little gap in that until you get more alacrity into your gear, and that's usually where I'll pop in that Shatter Shot down here. That's a little bit of a damage over time. It's the same thing as the Vital Shot that we talked about over on Gunslinger, and so it does a little bit of damage over time. You can use it while you're on the move, and it also works as a nice little filler in the rotation if you have some energy to dump. It also does the same 5% marked damage that the Gunslinger's version does. So sometimes, like, if you don't have time for a full-on ambush before your next target is up, you might actually just want to hit him with Shatter Shot first, get a little damage over time going, and then start up your regular rotation. Next up after lace target, we've got Orbital Strike. Orbital Strike is it ain't what it used to be. Orbital Strike is now basically the same hitting power as a batter grenade, maybe just a little bit more. It does it over 3 strikes though, and that also means that guys can get out of it. But it's very cheap to use compared to what it used to be. So situationally, I use it as a precast. If I see a group of guys ahead of me and I actually want to take the time to cast Orbital Strike, it's not really hurting anything. I'll just go ahead and use it. It's definitely good to have on the hotbar. There's definitely times where, especially in a raid environment, where you might be able to pop that baby out on a group that's far away on the other side of the map, and you can just continue your targeting on your main target. Next up, I have a hull. This is usually like where one of my adrenals or something would go. Then I have Target Acquired. Target Acquired is another buff. It's the same as we talked about over there on pub side. So Target Acquired just basically increases my range and attack accuracy by 30%. This is best used when I can do a full-on rotation in that 10-second window. Okay. Ideally speaking, if you can't do the entire rotation, popping this out right before a penetrating rounds, Sniper Volley, follow through, penetrating blast combo is the best place for it. You're going to get the most bang for the buck within that with that volley, okay? Because you can do those all back to back and have penetrating blasts, you know, cooldown completely refreshed by sniper volley. So, and you also get the 10% alacrity buff from sniper volley. That's a little rotational stuff. Didn't mean to get into that, but hey, we did. So hey, congratulations. I love snipers, by the way. It's my favorite class out of anything in the game, so, you know. There's a lot of great guides, though. Take a look at those guides. Go to Delphi.net, see how this character class is played, practice it, learn to love it. But this, at least, is putting the right stuff on your hotbar. Down here, I have Distraction. That's an interrupt. You want that somewhere. There's eventually going to be a time where you face a caster. That's going to help a lot. Shatter Shot, we just talked about. Suppressive Fire. This is the new AoE Supremo that Orbital Strike, once Orbital Strike was knocked off its platform as the best one in the game and was reduced to basically a grenade, this one really took its place. The great thing about Suppressive Fire, and this is important to note, guys, one, it's channeled on demand. Okay, I do have to be in cover to use it, but I can use it as many times as I like in succession. It is a little bit expensive, but the juice is worth the squeeze. It's one of the hardest hitting, if not the hardest hitting AoE in the game. So if you are a sniper, you're going to be using this a lot in your soloing. Now, the other thing is, the other best part, is you can get Imperial Efficiency, which is automatically selected for you as you create it up as Sniper in Marksman spec, and it gives you 25% more damage on top of what you're already doing, and there's more damage to Suppressive Fire in this particular branch of Marksmanship. This is as strong as Suppressive Fire as you're going to get, okay, without getting extra gear on it, okay? It is a fantastic AoE. You're going to be spamming this sucker a lot. So my advice to you is to enjoy it, love it, but watch your energy, okay? If you start getting kind of low on energy, then you know you're spamming a little too much. That's also why 2 moves over I have Adrenaline Probe, which is my energy boost, okay? So that way if I did spam this too long to, you know, kill a lot of stuff, hey, I can just hit that and I'm back in business with my energy. The move I skipped over here, Takedown, that is a execute move that happens at 30% or lower health. For this particular branch, that's pretty much non-negotiable. It's going to only pop up at 30% or less, and then that starts working into your rotation. That does activate another follow-through, just like, you know, we have Trick Shot over there on pub side get activated by the execute. Same thing here. Over here I have Shield Probe. This is the defensive I use the most in the game. It's 30 seconds. It doesn't negate a whole lot of damage, but it does take the edge off for sure. And if you're already behind cover, that is very helpful. And then that little bit that it takes off ends up being quite a bit. Right next to it I have Entrench, which is the exact same as, oh, what do they call it on pub side? Hunker Down. That's right. So on pub side it's Hunker Down, on here it's called Entrench. Does the same thing. I just push this button and now I get some extra ballistic protection from that. Also, there's some utilities that buff it up even more. I do recommend taking them. That is going to be completely one of the best things you can do for yourself as a sniper, is to be tough. You're already pretty ranged, but I feel like this is what separates the slingers from the sages, so to speak, or in this case, the snipers from the sorcerers. The ability to just basically be in one spot and get tough. Also, worthy to note is that when you do use your covered escape, you're going to get, because you're a marksman, a few seconds of entrench right away, which is kind of nice. Right after that, I have Cover Pulse, which is one of the basic defensives. While I'm in cover, I can just pop that, and that has the physics knockback. The downside is that unlike when you saw me with the Commando or the Sage, where they have directional and they can use it from standing, to use yours, you do have to be in cover. So this does make for some tricky action in a raid. If there's a guy on a ledge that I have to knock back, there's definitely moments in, say, hard mode or nightmare mode Revan, when you fight Revan in the Temple of Sacrifice. There's some things that you try to knock off edges. That means that if I'm sniping here, okay, and the thing's over by the edge, I got to move, get back down, and then pop it, okay? So just be aware that you do have to be in cover to use that particular physics knockback. Alright, over here I have Covered Escape, you already saw that one, and last is Recuperate. Now, as for defensives, this is something you gotta know. You already get some of the best defenses in the game as a sniper, including Evasion, which for 3 seconds you evade melee and range attacks by 200%. Which basically means whatever's aiming at you is going to miss. So if there's a really big attack that's only going to happen once, evasion's your thing, especially while you're in cover. You're going to be almost impossible to hit for that little bit of time. There's moments in, what was it called? The Ravagers, Underlooker, specifically as a fight, where I could be in front of the boss and completely negate a mechanic using that move. So evasion is very powerful, but it's also very situational. You got to know what's coming to be able to use it effectively. That being said, I do have it up at the top. I use it a lot. It's on a 1-minute cooldown. Next up is Ballistic Shield. This is the exact same thing as Scram Shield over on pub side, same color and everything. Same idea too. I can get up and run around inside of it. Alright, and as long as I'm inside the bounds of that shield, I'm getting 20% less damage. Me and everybody else in my party, very handy. Diversion, you're going to want to get to use this one a lot in raids. You may use it somewhat in the PvE content, especially when you have lots of group ads, especially like one strong guy in the center who's surrounded by maybe 4 or 5 weak ads. You may want to pop out Diversion. Diversion is targetable, okay? So I throw it out just like I would a grenade, and anything caught in that smoke is doing about half the accuracy it did before. That's a lot of missing. So help out tanks using that, and help out yourself. Next up is Countermeasures. I kind of say for a lot of other classes, like, you're not really going to use that side of a raid. I'm going to say the same thing here, except there's a utility that you can get that'll also let it cleanse you. That can actually sometimes be very handy. Countermeasures will purge all movement impairing effects when affected. Very situational. You may want it, you may not. If you don't, then keep it over here by the hotbar. But if you are in a raid, get used to using it. Snipers generate a ton of threat if they're being used properly, especially if you're an engineering spec. Jesus, don't even get me started on that. You're going to want to have countermeasures close by so that you can drop some threat. Last but not least is Slice Droid. So we don't get a great CC for bad guys. CC is crowd control. By the way, if I haven't explained that in previous videos. So if you're new to the game, if there's a droid type enemy out there, I can pop this, and that one particular droid will be stunned. Other classes, though, they get stuff that works universally against any type of bad guy. We only get Slice Droid. So if there's a droid on the field, and for whatever reason your group leader or raid leader wants it just crowd controlled, that's your guy. These other moves down here are either copies of stuff that's already on my hotbar or things that I just don't find beneficial. I left them here because that is stuff that's on your original hotbars, and I'm pointing those out as these are all things you can kind of move to the side. I will say, though, Debilitate, that's a stun. You may want that on your standing hotbar if you ever feel like you're being attacked and you are also standing. But I would say your better option is just being a cover and knocking him back. It is there, and it's optional. It's something you might want to put there, may not. That might be the one thing out of these guys that I would point out. The rest of these, Shiv, Take Cover, Overload Shot, Leg Shot, the second distraction that you got on a different hotbar, another version of Suppressive Fire, and Takedown. Use as you will, okay? They were on the secondary hotbar. I pulled them off because I had them somewhere else, but you may choose to use them or may not. And that's about it, guys. One last thing. Flashbang. Forgot to put that up here. Sorry about that. Flashbang is an AoE that just basically stuns guys for about 8 seconds. That's a powerful AoE, but any damage that they take immediately breaks it. So, situational. You may want to stun a guy, or a group of guys, and then take one on for a few seconds. That would be the time to use Flashbang. There's some raids where that becomes applicable too. But any damage that they take, including your dots, will immediately break that. So, buyer beware. Your mileage may vary. Alright, so that's about it for the Sniper. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope you enjoyed kind of going over these moves a little bit. I talked a little bit about the basic rotation here. Didn't plan to, just sort of happened. So enjoy that. It's the same idea for Gunslinger. All the moves are in the same place. But do feel free to set up the hotbar however you like. What works for you. I just happen to have a mouse that's configured to a lot of moves, and I'm just used to putting a lot of things on there. But if you're feeling a little intimidated by all this, yeah, go ahead and use the tutorial, but hopefully now you can jump into combat and have an idea now of some of the things that you can do and have your full toolbox at your disposal. I'm Zach. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this page, and if you haven't jumped into Star Wars yet, use my new friend referral link, man. They'll get you a few days of game time. You can join into the game, make a character, and see what you think. Alright, hope you're having a good one, guys, and we'll see you next time.